after this morning, as an outsider, you have left me completely empty, completely without any future, without any past, without any image. So where am I?
That's right. Somebody said that was watching this morning, or one of the people around, he said, how am I going to get out of bed in the morning?
Oh, yes.
No, I think that question of getting out of bed in the morning is fairly simple. Because I have to get up and do things. That's life demands that I act, not just stay in bed for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
You see, I have been left as an outsider who is viewing all this, who is listening to all this, a sense of blank wall, a sense of, I understand what you have said because it's been made very clear to me.
Mm-hmm.
I have, at one glance, I have rejected all the systems, all the gurus, the Zen Buddhism, this meditation, that and so on. I've discarded all that because I've understood the meditator is the meditation.
Mm-hmm.
But I still feel, have I solved my problem of sorrow? Do I know what it means to love?
Mm-hmm.
Do I understand what is compassion? Live, not understand. Intellectually I can spin a lot of words. But at the end of all this, these dialogues, after discussing with you all, listening to you all, have I this sense of astonishing energy which is compassion.
Yes, well,
And end of my sorrow. Do I know what it means to love somebody, love human beings?
Actually love.
Actually.
Not talk about it.
No, that's all. I've gone beyond all that. And you haven't shown me what death is.
yes.
I haven't understood a thing about death. You haven't talked to me about it. So there are these things we should cover before we finish this evening. A lot of ground to cover.
Okay. Well, could we begin on the question of death?
Yes. Let's begin on death.
Now, one point occurred to me. Now, we discussed in the morning, saying that we had come to the point where when we see the observer as the observed, then that is death, essentially, is what you said. Right.
Yes.
Now, this raises a question, if the self is nothing but an image, right, then what is it that dies? You see, if the image dies, that's nothing, right? That's not death, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So is there something real that dies?
There is a biological death.
Yeah, but we're not discussing that at the moment.
No.
Now you were discussing some kind of death.
I was when we were talking this morning,
Yeah.
I was trying to point out if there is no image at all,
Yes.
if there is no variety of images in my consciousness, I am dead. There is death.
Well, that's the point that's not clear. What is it that has died? You see, death implies something has died.
Died, the images have died. Me is dead.
But is that a genuine death in the sense of
that's what I want, of course. That's what I want to. Is it a verbal comprehension?
Or more deeply, is there something that has to die? You see, I'm trying to say something real.
Something.
Yeah. In other words, if an organism dies, I say, I see that to a point. Something real has died, you see.
Yes, something real has died.
Now, but when the self dies...
But I have accepted so far
Yeah.
the self has been an astonishingly real thing.
Yes.
You three come along and tell me that image is fictitious.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand it. And I'm a little frightened that when that dies, when there is no image, you follow, there's an ending to something.
Yeah, well, what is it that ends?
Ah, right. What is that ends?
Yes, because is it something real that ends, or you could say an ending of an image is no ending at all, right?
At all. What?
If it's only an image that ends, that's an image of ending. I mean, I'm trying to say that it's nothing much ends if it's only an image. Right?
Yes, that's what I want to get at.
Is that, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If it is merely an ending of an image,
Right, then there's nothing much.
there is nothing.
No, it's like turning off the television set.
Yes, I mean, that leaves me nothing.
Right. Is that what
Well, that's we have to.
Is
That what death is, or is there something deeper that
Oh,
dies?
very much deeper.
Something deep dies.
Yes.
Well, how about the image-making process? Would you want to...
Well, that's-
is that a something?
No, I would say it is not the end of the image, which is death, but something much deeper than that.
Yeah.
But it's still not the death of the organism, you see.
Still not the death of organism.
But
Of course,
would
the
you say-
organism will know that
We'll go on
will,
up to a point, right?
up to a point, yes, till a disease, accident, old age, or senility, and so on. But death, is it the ending of the image, which is fairly simple and fairly, acceptable and known,
Right.
but logically or even actually. But that, yes, but it's like, a very shallow pool.
Yes.
You have taken away the little water,
Right.
and then there is nothing but mud left behind. There is nothing. So, is there something much more?
That dies?
No. Not that dies, but the meaning of death.
Well,
Is there something more than the image that dies, or does death have a meaning beyond the death of the image?
Of course, that's what we are asking.
That's the question.
That's what we are
Is there something about death that is bigger than the death of the image?
Obviously, it must
Yes.
be.
will this include the death of the organism, this meaning?
Yes. Death of the organism might go on. I mean, the organism might go on, but eventually come to an end.
Yeah, but if we were to see what death means as a whole, universally, then we would also see what the death of the organism means.
Yes.
Right? Along
Yes.
with, and is there some meaning also to the death of the self-image? The same meaning.
That's only, I should say, that's only a very small part.
That's very small.
Right.
That's a very, very small part.
But then, is there, say, one could think there might be the death of the self-image, then there might be a process or a structure beyond the self-image that might die, that creates the self-image.
Yes, that is thought.
That's thought. Now, are you discussing the death of thought?
Yes, that's only also again superficial.
It's very small.
Very small.
And is there something beyond thought in us that should
That's what I want to get at.
Yeah, we're trying to get at the meaning
we're not
of
quite
death.
clear.
Yeah, which is beyond the death of the self thought
And
or the
thought.
image.
No, just look. The image dies. Image wipes, that's
Right.
fairly simple.
Right.
It's a very shallow affair.
Right.
Then there's the ending of thought, which is the ending of dying to thought.
But you say thought is deeper than the image, but still not very deep.
Not very deep. So we have removed the maker of image and the image itself.
Right. Right.
Now, is there something more?
In what sense something more? Something more that exists or something more that has to die? Or
Is it something creative that happens?
No, we're going to find out.
But I mean, your question is not clear when you say, is there something more?
Is there, is that all death? Is that death?
Oh, I see. Is that all that death is?
Me, yes.
This is death.
No. I understand image, maker of image.
Right.
But that's a very shallow affair.
Right. So then there's something
And I say,
else.
is that all? Is that the meaning of death?
Right. You mean, I think I'm getting with you. Is that the meaning of death only in that little part?
Yes,
or is there a meaning that's bigger?
Death must have something enormously significant.
Yeah.
Right.
Now you're saying death has a meaning, is significant for everything, for the
Yes.
whole of life.
Whole of life.
Yes. Now, first, could you say,
That's right.
why do you say it? Do you say, in other words, at first, it's not generally accepted if we're thinking of the viewer that death is that sort of thing. In other words, the way we live now, death is
at
just
the end.
The end. And you try to forget about it,
Yeah.
and try to make it unobtrusive and so on.
But if you, as you three have worked at it, pointed out, my life has been in a turmoil.
Mm-hmm.
And my life has been a constant conflict, anxiety, all the rest of it.
Right.
That's been my life. I've clung to the known. And therefore, the death is the unknown.
Right.
So I'm afraid of that.
Mm-hmm.
And we come along and say, look, death is partly the ending of the image, the maker of the image, and death must have much more greater significance than merely this empty saucer.
Well, if you could make more clear why it must have, you see.
Why it must have? Because
Why must
is life just a shallow, empty pool? Empty mud at the end of it?
Well, you
it?
see,
Why would you assume it's anything else?
I want to know.
That's right. That's
but I mean, even if it is something else, you have to ask, why is it that death is the key to understanding that, do you see?
Because it's the ending of everything.
All right.
everything.
Reality
Right.
and all my concepts, images, end of all the memories.
Well, that's in the ending of thought, right?
Ending of thought. And also it means ending of time.
Ending of time.
Ending, the time coming to a stop totally. And there is no future in the sense of past meeting the present and carrying
I
on.
mean, psychologically speaking.
Yes, psychologically speaking. Of course, we are psychologically.
Where we still admit the future on the clock.
Of course.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Ending, psychological ending of everything.
Right.
That's what is death is.
Right.
And when the organism dies, then everything ends for that organism.
Of course. When the organism, this organism dies, it's finished.
Right.
But wait a minute. If I don't end the image, the stream of image making goes on.
Yes, well, and again, it's not too clear where it goes on. Do you see, in other people or in...
It manifests itself in other people. That is, I die.
Right. Organism.
I die, the organism dies, and at the last moment is I'm still with the image I have.
Yeah, so then what happens to that?
That's what I'm saying. That image has its continuity with the other rest of the images. Your image, my image.
Right.
Your image is not different from mine.
Right. We share that.
No, not share it. It's not different.
Right. I get you.
It may have a little more frills, little bit more color, but essentially the image, my image, is your image.
Right.
Now, so there is this constant flow of image making.
Well, where does it take place?
Huh?
In people?
It is there. It
Anywhere.
manifests itself in people.
Oh, you feel that it's broader than, in some way it's
Yeah.
more general and more universal.
Yes, much more universal.
That's rather, yeah.
Huh?
I say it's rather strange, I mean, to think of that.
Yes.
It's there.
It is
It
Like a
exists,
river.
right?
Yeah.
like a river. It's there.
there.
And it manifests itself
It's
in
in
streams,
people.
which we call people.
That stream is the maker of images and images.
Right.
So in other words, you're saying the image does not originate only in one brain, but in some sense it's universal.
Universal, quite
Yeah,
right.
but it's not clear. I mean, you're not only saying that it's just the sum of the effects of all the brains, but are you implying something more?
It's the effect of all the brains,
Yeah.
and it manifests itself when in people, as they're born, genes and all the rest of
Yes.
it. Now, is that all? That's yes. That's a yes. Does death leave me? Does death bring about this sense of enormous, endless energy which has no beginning and no end? Or is it just I got rid of my images, and the image maker is, I can stop it. It's very simple, it can be stopped, and yes. But I haven't touched much deeper things. There must be, life must have infinite depth.
Yes. Now, the death which opens that up
Death opens that up.
is the death, you say, of the but we said it's more than the death of the image making. See, this is what is not clear. Is there, for example, I'm trying to say something real which is blocking that from realizing itself?
Yes. Is blocking itself through image and thought maker, the maker of
Now, that's what's blocking it, though. The image making and thought making is blocking this greater.
Yeah.
blocking that.
Blocking that, right.
But there's still other blocks, deeper blocks
That's what I was trying to
Yeah,
get
that's
at,
what
that
he's
there are
asking
deeper
you.
blocks
What-
that are real,
that are real. Now,
That's the,
and they really have to die.
that's just it.
so would that be like this stream that you're talking about that's
no,
there?
That's it. No. There's a stream of sorrow, isn't there?
Yes, now in what sense, is sorrow deeper than the image?
Yes,
It is.
Well, that's
is.
important.
it is.
You think so?
Don't you?
I do. I think
No,
there's-
be careful, sir. This is very
Right.
serious.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, would you say sorrow and suffering are the same, or just different words?
With different words,
All
sorrow
right,
and
yeah,
suffering.
just to clear it up.
We'll stick to
Deeper
the word
than, deeper
sorrow,
than this
Yeah.
image making is sorrow.
isn't it? Man has lived with sorrow a million years.
Well, could we say a little more about sorrow? See, what is it? You see, it's more than pain, you see.
Oh, much more than pain, much more than loss, much more than losing my son and my parent or this or that.
It's deeper than that.
It's much deeper than
Right. Right.
It goes beyond the image,
that.
beyond thought,
Of course, beyond thought.
well, beyond what we would ordinarily call feeling.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Feeling, thought. Now, can that end?
Well, let me, before you go, are you saying that the stream of sorrow, if I can be so naive, is a different stream from the stream of image making? If you had to say it's there, is it two different streams, or
No, it's part of the stream.
part of the same stream?
but much
Right.
deeper.
Much deeper.
Well,
right.
I was saying then there's a very deep stream. The image making is on the surface of this
That's
stream,
all.
right?
That's
Right.
all.
The waves
But
on
you
the
are-
surface,
but
right?
we have been left with that. You
Right.
say,
Yeah.
I want to penetrate
Or could you say we've understood the waves on the surface of this
Yes,
stream,
that's
which
right.
we call image making?
image making.
Right.
And
That's
then
right.
and whatever disturbance is in sorrow comes out on the surface as image making.
That's
Right.
right.
So now we got to go deep sea diving. Right?
River driving.
Right. River.
But what is,
No,
is
sir.
sorrow?
You know, sir, there's universal sorrow.
yes, but let's try to make it clear. See, it's not merely that it's the sum of all the sorrow of different people.
No. It is this. Could we put it this way? The waves on the river doesn't bring compassion. Or compassion, love would say, are synonymous, so we'll keep to the word compassion. The waves don't bring this. What will? Without compassion, human beings can't, as they are doing, they're destroying themselves. So, does compassion come with the ending of sorrow, which is not the sorrow created by thought?
Yes, right. So I said in thought you have sorrow for the self, right?
Yes, sorrow for the self.
Which is self-pity.
Self-pity.
And now you say there's another sorrow. I think we haven't quite got hold of it. There's a deeper sorrow.
There is deeper sorrow.
Which is universal, not merely the total sum, but rather something universal.
That's right.
What is that? Yeah, can we spell that out?
What?
We spell that out. Go into that.
Don't you know it?
Yes.
I'm just asking. Don't you know or aware of a much deeper sorrow than the sorrow of thought, self-pity, the sorrow of the image?
Yeah.
Huh?
Does this sorrow have any content? I mean, to say it's sorrow for the fact that man is in this state of affairs which he can't get out of.
That's partly it. That means partly the sorrow of ignorance.
Yes, I mean, that man is ignorant and cannot get out of it.
Cannot get. You follow?
Yeah.
And that the perception of that sorrow is compassion.
Right.
All right, so the non-perception is sorrow then? I mean, if you say that...
Yes. Are we seeing the same thing?
No, I don't think so.
Say, for instance, you see me in ignorance.
Oh, I see the whole mankind.
Mankind in ignorance.
Yeah.
Right.
And after living millennia, they are still ignorant.
Right.
Ignorant in the sense we're talking, that is, the maker of the image and all that.
Now, let's say that if my mind is really right, good, or clear, that should have a deep effect on me, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
What would have a deep effect?
To see this tremendous ignorance, see this tremendous destruction.
We are getting at it.
Right.
We are getting it. We are getting it.
Right.
But then, if I don't fully perceive, if I start to escape the perception of it, then I'm in it too.
Yes, they are in it too.
But the feeling is still that universal sorrow is still something that I can feel. I mean, is that what you mean to say?
Yes.
Although I'm not very perceptive as to what it means.
No. You can feel the sorrow of thought.
The sorrow of thought, but I can sense, or somehow be aware, of the universal sorrow.
Yes, you can.
Right.
You say the universal sorrow is there, whether you feel it.
You can feel it. You can feel it.
Feel it or sense it.
Right.
Right.
A sorrow of man living like this.
Is that the essence of it? I mean,
I'm just moving into it. Let's move in.
Is there more to it than
Much more to it.
Oh, well, then perhaps we should try to bring that out.
I'm trying to. There is.
Sorrow, yeah.
You see me.
Mm-hmm.
I live the ordinary life. Image, sorrow, fear, anxiety, all that. I have the sorrow of self-pity, all that. And you, who are enlightened quotes, look at me and say, aren't you full of sorrow for me? Which is compassion.
Well, that is, I would say that is a kind of energy which is tremendously aroused because of this situation.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But would you call it sorrow, or you call it compassion?
Compassion, which is the outcome of sorrow.
But have you felt sorrow first? I mean, has the enlightened person felt sorrow and then compassion?
No.
Well, the other way?
No. Be
All right.
careful. Go very carefully.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is...
You see, sir, you are saying that one must have sorrow first to have compassion.
I'm just exploring it, right?
Yeah, we are exploring. Sorrow, through sorrow you come to compassion.
That's what you seem to be saying.
Yes, I seem to be saying. But which implies that I must go through all the horrors of
Right.
mankind
Experience.
in order.
Right.
No.
No?
No, but
No.
let's say,
That's the point.
well, let's say that the enlightened one, the enlightened man, sees this sorrow, sees this destruction, and he feels something, right? He senses something, right? Which is a tremendous energy.
Yes.
We call it compassion. Now, does he understands that the people are in sorrow,
Of course.
but he is not himself in sorrow, is
That's
he?
right. That's right.
But he feels a tremendous energy to do something.
Yes. Tremendous energy of compassion.
Compassion, feeling for them.
Compassion.
Yeah.
Would you then say that the enlightened man perceives or is aware of the I hate to use the word inefficiency, but the conflict, he's not aware of sorrow. He's aware of the awkwardness, the blundering, the loss of life.
No, sir. Dr. Schoenberg, just listen. You have been through all this. Suppose you have been through all the
Sorrow.
Image, thought, the sorrow of thought, the fears, the anxiety, and you say, I've understood that. It's over in me. But you have left very little. You have energy.
Right.
But it's a very shallow business.
Right.
And is life so shallow as all that? Or has it an immense depth? Depth is the wrong word, but
Right.
Well, yes, inwardness.
an inwardness. And to find that out, don't you have to die to everything known?
No, but how does this relate to sorrow at the same time?
I'm coming.
Yeah.
You might feel I'm ignorant. I have my anxieties, all the rest of it. You are beyond it. You are on the other side of the stream, as it were. Don't you have compassion? Huh?
Yes,
Yes.
I do.
No,
I see that.
not up
No,
here.
No, I know. I mean, but I see it, and I.
Compassion.
Yes.
Is that the result of the ending of sorrow, the universal sorrow?
What? The universal
Universal sorrow.
Wait, let's say the ending of sorrow. Now, you're talking about the person who was in sorrow to begin with,
Yes.
and in him this universal sorrow ends. Is that what you're saying?
No, there's
Or
more
The
than
only
that.
thing
More than that, but we have to go slowly, because
Yeah.
if you say the ending of universal sorrow, the thing that is puzzling
I know.
is to say it still exists, you see.
Huh?
You see, if the universal sorrow ends, then it's all gone.
It's still there. No,
It's still there. You
of
see, there's a
course.
certain puzzle in language.
Yes, yes,
So in some sense, the universal sorrow ends, but in another sense, it persists.
yes. Yes, that's right.
But could we say that if you have an insight into the essence of sorrow, of universal sorrow, then in that sense, sorrow ends in that insight? Is that,
Yes,
you mean,
that's right.
although, it's
Although
still
it
there.
still goes on.
I've got a deeper question, though. The question
I
is,
don't think you have understood.
I think I understood that one, but my question comes before, which is that here is me. The image making has died, right? That's the waves. Now, I come into the sorrow.
You've lost the sorrow of thought.
Right. The sorrow of thought is gone, but there's a deeper sorrow.
Is there? Or you assuming there is deeper sorrow?
I'm trying to understand what you're saying.
No. I'm saying, is there compassion which is not related to thought, Or is that compassion born of sorrow?
Born of sorrow.
Born in the sense, when the sorrow ends, there is compassion.
Okay, that makes it a little clearer. When the sorrow of thought...
Not personal sorrow.
No, when the
Not
sorrow...
the sorrow of thought.
Not the sorrow of thought, but
No.
something deeper.
Something deeper. When that sorrow
I see the point.
ends,
Yeah.
And when that sorrow ends,
Yeah,
then there is a birth
Of
compassion of energy.
Now, is there not a deeper sorrow than the sorrow of thought?
There's what David was saying. The sorrow for ignorance is deeper than thought. The sorrow for the universal calamity of mankind trapped in this sorrow. The sorrow of a continual repetition of wars and history and poverty and people mistreating each other. That's a deeper sorrow. That's deeper than the sorrow of thought. And it is...
Can we ask this question? What is compassion? Which is love. We are using that one word to cover a wide field.
Mm-hmm.
What is compassion? Can a man who is in sorrow, thought, image, can he have that? He can't. Absolutely cannot. Right? Right?
Yes.
Now, when does that come into being? Without that, life has no meaning. You have left me without that.
Mm-hmm.
So if all that you have taken away from me is superficial sorrow, thought and image, and I feel there's something much more.
I mean, just doing that leaves something empty or,
Yes.
meaningless, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something much greater than this shallow little business.
Is there, say, when we have thought producing sorrow, self-pity, but also the realization of the sorrow of mankind, and could you say the energy which is deeper is being in some way moved? You see, well, first of all, in the sorrow, this energy is sort of caught up in whirlpools or something. You see, much deeper than it's
Quite
deeper
right.
than thought, but there's some sort of very deep disturbance of the energy, right?
Yes, quite right.
Which we call deep sorrow. Right?
Deep sorrow.
Ultimately, its origin is the blockage in thought, though, isn't it?
Yes, yes. That is deep sorrow of mankind.
Yeah, the deep sorrow of mankind.
For centuries upon centuries, it's like a vast reservoir of sorrow.
It's sort of moving around in some way that's disorderly
Yes.
and preventing clarity and so on. I mean, perpetuating ignorance.
Ignorance, perpetuating ignorance, right.
Because, you see, if it were not for that, then man's natural capacity to learn would solve all these problems. Is that
That's
possible?
right.
Right.
Unless you three give me, or help me, or show me, or have an insight into something much greater,
Mm-hmm.
I say, yes, this is very nice, and I go, you follow?
Mm-hmm.
What we are trying to do, as far as I can see, is to penetrate into something beyond death.
Beyond death.
Death, we say, is not only the ending of the organism, but the ending of the content of the consciousness and the consciousness which we know as it is now.
Is it also the ending of sorrow?
ending of sorrow of that kind, of the
the superficial
superficial kind. That's clear.
Yeah.
And a man who has gone through all that, he said, that's not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't given me the flower,
Right.
the perfume. You've just given me the actress of it. And now, we three are trying to find out that which is beyond the ashes.
Right.
So there is that which is beyond death.
Absolutely.
I mean, would you say that is eternal, or?
I don't want to
You
use
don't use the word, but in some
purposely.
sense, I mean, it's in some sense beyond time.
Beyond time.
Therefore, eternal is not the best word for it.
Therefore, there is something beyond this superficial death as a movement that has no beginning and no ending.
Mm-hmm. But it is a movement.
It's a movement. Movement not in time.
Not in time, but...
What is the difference between a movement in time and a movement out of time?
So that which is constantly renewing,
Mm-hmm.
constantly new is in the word, constantly fresh, flowering, endlessly flowering, that is timeless. This whole flowering implies time.
Yeah, well, I think we can see the point.
I think we get that, the feel of renewal and creation and coming and going without transition, without duration, without linearity, that has...
You see, let me come back to it in a different way. Being a normally fairly intelligent man, read various books, tried various meditations, Zen and this and that and the other thing. At one glance, I have an insight into all that. At one glance, it's finished. I won't touch it. And it may be the ending of this image maker and all that. There, a meditation must take place to delve, to have an insight into something which mind has never touched before.
Mm-hmm. Right. But I mean, even if you do touch it, then doesn't mean the next time it will be known.
It can never be known in the sense...
It can never be known. It's always new in some sense.
Yes, it's always new. Mm-hmm. It is not a memory stored up and altered, changed, and call it new. Mm-hmm. It has never been old.
Yes.
I don't know if I can put it that way.
Yeah, I think I understand that. You see, that could you say like a mind that has never known sorrow?
Yes.
And it might seem puzzling at first, but you move out of this state which has known sorrow into a state which has not known sorrow.
No, yes, that's right.
In other words, there's no you. So
that's right. That's right.
Can we say it this way too? Could we say that it's an action which is moving where there is no you?
You see, when you use the word action, action means not in the future or in the past. Action is the doing.
Yes.
And most of our actions are the result of the cause,
Right.
or the past, or according to your future.
Right.
Ideal.
This is not that.
That's not action.
No,
That's just
no.
conformity.
Right. No, I'm talking about a different kind of action.
So, no, I wouldn't. Action implies. See, there's several things involved. To penetrate into this, the mind must be completely silent.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Otherwise, you are projecting something into it.
Right. Right. It is not projecting into anything. That's a...
The absolute silence.
Right.
And that silence is not the product of control,
Right.
wished for, premeditated, predetermined.
Right.
Therefore, that silence is not brought about through will.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Now, in that silence, there is this sense of something beyond all time, all death, all thought. Something
Yeah. No.
And
kind of nothing, not a thing. You understand?
Yes.
Nothing,
Mm-hmm.
and therefore empty, and therefore tremendous energy.
is
And
this,
moving.
Energy. Don't leave it. Leave it.
is this also the source of compassion then?
That's what. That's it.
What do you mean by source?
Well, that this in this energy is compassion. Is that?
Yes, that's right.
And
In this energy
This energy is.
is compassion.
That's different.
Yeah, of course.
This energy is compassion. See, that's different than saying the source.
You see, and beyond that, there is something more.
Yes.
Beyond that.
Of
Beyond
course.
that, well, why do you say of course? What could it be that's more?
So, let's approach it differently. Everything thought has created is not sacred. It's not holy.
Yeah, well, because it's fragmented.
It's fragment, we know it. And putting up an image and worshipping it is a creation of thought.
That's right.
Made by the hand or by the mind is still an image. So, in that there is nothing sacred. Because as you pointed out, thought is fragment, limited, finite, it's the product of memory and so on. So there's nothing.
It's the sacred, therefore, that which is without limit.
That's it.
I mean, and
There is something beyond compassion
beyond compassion.
which is sacred.
Yes. Or is it beyond movement?
Sacred.
Sacred.
You can't say movement or
You can't
non-movement.
say anything.
A living thing, you can only examine a dead thing.
Right.
A living thing you can't examine.
That's right.
What we are trying to do is to examine that living thing which we call sacred, which is beyond compassion.
Well, what is our relation to the sacred then?
To the man who is ignorant, there is no relationship. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is true.
Right.
To the man who has removed the image, all that, who is free of the image and the image maker, is still, it has no meaning yet.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
It has meaning only when he goes beyond everything, he dies to everything. Dying means, in the sense, never for a single more second accumulating anything, psychologically.
But would you say that there is any? You asked the question. What is the relationship to the sacred? Is there ever a relationship to the sacred, or is the sacred?
No. He's asking something.
Yeah.
He's asking, what is the relationship between that which is sacred, holy, and to reality?
Yeah, well, it's implicit anyway.
Huh?
I mean, that's implied. I mean,
Of course.
that.
We've talked about it some
Yes.
time ago, this question,
Yeah,
which is a reality which is the product of thought has no relationship to that, because thought is an empty
Right.
little affair.
Yeah.
That may have a relationship with this.
In some way, I mean.
Right.
And the relationship comes through insight, intelligence, and compassion.
How does what is that relationship? I mean, what is intelligence, I suppose we're asking.
Intelligence? What is intelligence?
I mean, how does intelligence act?
Wait. You have had an insight into the image. You have had an insight into the movement of thought. Movement of thought, which is self-pity, creates sorrow, and all that. You have had a real insight into it. Hmm? Haven't you? It's not,
Right.
it's not a verbal agreement or disagreement or logical conclusion. You have had a real insight into that business,
Right.
into the waves of the river. Now, have you an insight also? Isn't that insight intelligence?
Right.
Which is not the intelligence of a clever man, and we're not talking of that. So there is that intelligence. You have already got that intelligence.
That's right.
Now, move with that intelligence, which is not yours or mine. Intelligence, not Miss Dr. Schenberg or Case or somebody's. It is universal intelligence, global or cosmic intelligence. That insight. Now, move further into
Move with.
have an insight into sorrow, which is not the sorrow of thought, all right, the enormous sorrow of mankind, of ignorance, you follow? And then out of that insight, compassion. Now, insight into compassion. Is compassion the end of all life? End of all day? It seems so, because you have thrown away, mind has thrown away all the burden which man has imposed upon itself. Right? So you have that tremendous feeling, a tremendous thing inside you. Now, that compassion, delve into it. And there is something sacred, untouched by man. Man is untouched by his mind, by his cravings, by his demands, by his prayers, by his everlasting chicanery, tricks. And that may be the origin of everything, which man has misused. You follow? Not that it exists in him, because then we get lost.
But if you say it's the origin of all matter or all nature,
Of all matter, of all nature.
and of all mankind.
Yes. That's right, sir. I'd stick by it. So, at the end of this dialogues, what has the viewer got? What has he captured?
What would we hope he'd captured? Or what would you say, what did we hope that he would capture? Or what has he actually captured?
What he has actually, not hope.
Right.
What
So
has he
actually captured?
actually captured?
Right. He's
Has his bowl filled?
filled with the sacred.
Or he says, well, I've got a lot of ashes left.
Right.
Very kind of you. But I can get that anywhere. Any logical, rational human being says, yes, by discussing, can wipe out all this, and I'm left nothing.
Or has he got...
Yeah, that's what. Yeah. He has come to you. I have come to you three, wanting to find out, transforming my life, because I feel that it's absolutely necessary. Not to, get rid of my ambition and all the silly stuff which mankind has collected. I empty myself of all that. Please, when I use the word I, it's not, I can't empty itself. I is dies to all that. Now, have I got anything out of all this? Have you given me the perfume of that thing?
Can I give you the perfume?
Or, yes, sir, share it with me.
I can share it with you. Has the viewer shared with us the experience we've had being together?
Have you too shared this thing with this man?
Right. Have we shared this with this man?
If not, then what? A clever discussion, dialogue. Oh, that we're fed up. You can only share when you're really hungry. You follow? Burning with hunger. Otherwise you share words. So I've come to the point, we have come to the point when we see life has an extraordinary meaning.
Yeah, well, I say it has a meaning far beyond what we usually think
Yes,
of.
course, this is so shallow and empty.
But would you say this sacred is also life?
Yes, that's what I was getting at. Life is sacred.
And the sacred is life. Right?
Yeah.
And have we shared that?
Have you shared that? So, we mustn't misuse life.
Right.
You understand? We mustn't waste it because our life is so short. You follow? So,
I mean, you feel that each of our lives has a part to play in this sacred, which you talk about.
what's that?
Each of our lives has an important part, in some sense, to play.
It's
a part of the whole.
Oh, yes.
And that misusing it is to use it rightly, has a tremendous significance.
Yes, quite right. But to accept it as a theory is as good as any other theory.
Right. Is something, though, I feel troubled. Have we shared it?
Yes, sir.
That burns. That question burns. Have we shared the sacred?
Which means really, all these discussion, dialogues, have been a process of meditation.
Right.
Not a clever argument, a real penetrating meditation which brings insight into everything that's being said.
Well, I should say that we have been doing that.
I think we've been doing that.
We've been doing that.
Yes.
And have we shared that?
With whom? Among
With
ourselves?
the viewer.
Well, I should say that's a difficult...
Are you considering the viewer, or are you considering, or there is no viewer at all? Are you speaking to the viewer, or only that thing in which the viewer, you and I, everything is? You understand what I'm saying? We've got 2 minutes more.
Well, how would you respond then what David said? He said, we have been in a meditation. You say, we have been, and I say, we've been in a meditation. How have we shared in our meditation?
No. Has it been a meditation?
Yes.
This dialogue?
Yes.
Meditation is not just argument.
Right. No, we've shared.
All
I
right.
feel
Seeing
that.
the truth of every statement,
Right.
or the falseness of every statement,
Right.
or seeing in the false the truth.
Right. And aware in each of us and in all of us of the false as it comes out and is clarified.
See it all, and therefore we are in a state of meditation.
Right.
And whatever we say must then lead to that ultimate thing. Then you're not sharing.
What are you?
There is no sharing. We got one moment. There is no sharing. It's only that.
That. The act of meditation is that.
No, there is only that. Don't.
Okay.